we're using social media to scale our self-worth. We're saying, here's the picture of what this mom looks like. And, I'm going to, if I don't look like that, if I don't feel like she feels mothering her child, then I somehow have failed. I don't measure up. And so we've created a picture. This is what I should be worth. And when we look and we're not matching that picture, that's when we start to feel the depression and the anxiety. And I know that there are moms out there who are like, yes, I can't compare myself to this yardstick anymore. It's just not possible.
So, can you tell us how social media is affecting our self-worth? Also, can you explain why do we like it so much?
Yeah, I was thinking how much it really hit home for me, because I do feel that I have social media anxiety. Um, and what that looks like for me is I'll start to scroll some feeds. I'll start to see some really intense conversations between people who don't know each other. And even though I'm not involved in those conversations, I feel strongly, I have this strong feeling of both of these people are tearing each other down. And it actually gives me anxiety to read negative commentary, even though I'm not in it. And then, as I've been building my practice, I had to have Facebook, I had to have Instagram. I wanted to share, information with the world, but I had this strong fear and anxiety about rejection. So I'm going to put something out there and somebody's going to reject me. And what does that say about me? What does that say about my self-worth? Um, and, I've just, that's just the way I am, but there's a reason for that. And then we're all kind of like that. So, you know, I know that there is negative commentary. And when I see it, I try my best to, I'll stop looking at it. It's like kind of watching a train wreck. You're like, I'm going to see what's happening. And then I get in it, I get uncomfortable and the anxiety kind of wells up in my chest. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. Social media anxiety. So we like it because we're kind of programmed that way because we're out there looking for love and acceptance, right? Love and acceptance. This is all that we're looking for in this world. So we're wired that way. The VTA, the ventral tegmental area, is one of the primary parts responsible for determining the reward system in our bodies. So when social media users receive positive feedback, likes, the brain fires off dopamine receptors, which is facilitated by the VTA. So, and I know we've talked about it before, but dopamine makes you happy. And so, like, likes means they like me and makes me happy. And when you see negative commentary, the opposite starts to happen inside of your body. So you're putting all your self-worth into this person behind a screen. So, researchers looked at adolescent brains in an MRI, and they analyzed them as they were browsing Instagram, and they found that viewing photos with many likes compared with few likes was associated with greater activity in the neural region. So that's implicated in reward processing and imitation and attention. So there's a lot of research out there now about frequent social media users who've been shown to have worse mental health than lower or no users, or social media users who have negative interactions have higher levels of depression. People who use three or more devices, or I'm sorry, three or more social media sites, they're more likely to suffer from anxiety. So, I mean, it's super relevant now. Before it was more like, I was getting, you would get anxiety from, do people like me? What am I worth? But there's this extra added component in 2020 slash 2021 of COVID. So there's this whole other level of like finding your worth. Like, if I don't fit into this group, particular group that feels this particular way, then maybe I'm just not, maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I don't know what I should know. Maybe I'm less than, right? It makes you feel less than. So we're using social media to scale our self-worth. We're saying, here's the picture of what this mom looks like. And, I'm going to, if I don't look like that, if I don't feel like she feels mothering her child, then I somehow have failed. I don't measure up. And so we've created a picture. This is what I should be worth. And when we look and we're not matching that picture, that's when we start to feel the depression and the anxiety. And I know that there are moms out there who are like, yes, I can't compare myself to this yardstick anymore. It's just not possible.
Yeah. When I was in the classroom, um, and I've been around a while, so I come from the generation where there was no Facebook. There was no social media. So I know what both worlds are like. And I can tell you that it does concern me a bit. And what I saw with the kids, it was like they compare. So we get into this comparison, right? So when somebody's going to post something on Facebook, they're going to make sure they have the best angle, they look the best, they filter, it goes on and on and on and on and on. And that is not reality.
Right.
And so I love talking about this and discussing why we like it so much. And because I've been there, I got into the Facebook there. So there were some good things about it because I reconnected with some people that I went to grade school with. So there's some cool things about it, but the majority of it is not healthy. And
Yeah.
again, depending on how much we use it, and if you're not feeling good about yourself, if your self-love, your self-compassion is at a low, which a lot of people right now, it is at a low, this is where we got to say, hey guys, this is what's going on. So great
Mm-hmm.
explanation of why we like it so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, we have an innate need to be loved and accepted. We need to be loved and accepted. And it used to be that we were loved and accepted by our friends, our family. They would say, I love you. Or, your friends would say, hey, I'm here, let's hang out. So you'd have that interaction. And now you have, millions of people potentially that can tell you that they love you or they hate you. They don't love you. And the thing is that if somebody didn't like you or didn't agree with you before, they wouldn't have said it. Or maybe they would have said it in a polite way to your face.
Yeah.
But the commentary that gets said behind the safety of a screen
Yeah.
is so, it's just, it's so hateful. It's so
Yeah.
hateful. And you think, how could people have so much hate in their heart to tell somebody, that they should go hurt themselves, or that they shouldn't be,
Yeah.
that they have no business, talking about this or that, because, and you're just tearing people down, and it triggers a physical response in the body, and sort of internal self-loathing starts to happen in the brain, and then the body physically starts to feel that as well. So yeah, it's a pretty serious thing. And they have, I don't know if you've seen it, they had a Netflix documentary called The Social Experiment. Have you seen that one?
My sister was talking about it, and she was talking about getting off of Facebook and Instagram completely. And I've noticed that a lot of my friends have are really backing off of Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
It's a great documentary, and it's great knowledge to have. And I think it's as we as we move forward and we learn more about what it is doing uh, to the individual, to your self-worth, I think it's worth a look. And I think it is also um, about, well, I always say knowledge is power. So understanding it and then balancing it.
Right. Right.
So no one's saying you have to get off forever,
Right. Right.
but it's saying educate yourself, know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is exactly what you're doing today. You're explaining what really is going on with our brain, and
Mm-hmm.
how it starts working on our self-esteem and self-love. And then all of a sudden, like you were talking about, we've got anxiety, we've got stress, we have depression using social media. So educate, but what are some other steps that we can take to lower all the anxiety, stress, and depression using social media?
Well, you can, step away from social media or block people who put out negativity and hate that you don't need in your life. And
Yeah.
sometimes that means that people may block you, and that's okay. They disagreed with you on something and they blocked you. I respect that more than somebody putting hate speech because they disagreed with, what I had said. They blocked me. They didn't want to see my content. That's their right. And it's
Yeah.
your right too. If you don't want to see content from some people, and I have done this with very dear personal friends who I love and care for, I just, when they get on Facebook, it becomes a whole other, uh, written diarrhea of the mouth, so to speak. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to see that. So I will just block that person. And it's okay to block, and it is okay to be blocked. Uh, and so it's okay to step away from social media. That's one thing I would do. And I'm not saying step away from it forever, but you can use your own phone to track how much time you spend on social media. If you've got an iPhone, it's pretty simple. It's in settings, and I use that also to track and limit how much time my kids are able to spend on social media. I was with my cousin the other day, and my little niece was very upset about this, but I was explaining to her, like, oh, here, just go into your settings and you can limit how much time your children spend on social media. You can actually put in how many hours you want them to be able to communicate with friends. You can put in how much time you want them to spend playing on an app. And 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 it's free. It's on your phone. You don't have to even buy anything or do anything. But you can use that same feature to see how much time you're using on it, and then cut that number in half and use that time towards the self-care that we've been talking about. Um, companies, social media companies are specifically trying to keep you wasting time because they feel like if we get her wasting enough time, she'll find something that she wants to buy. She'll click on something, which will take her to something. And so they have whole teams of engineers just sitting around trying to figure out how to make you keep scrolling that finger. So, just taking that back, your time is precious. Value yourself in that time. And wouldn't it be better to spend that time towards something more useful, something that will help you or the world? Instead of doing that, go to the beach and pick up trash. Instead of, if you care strongly about the environment, then do something about it. Don't just say something about it. If you care strongly about whatever it is that you care about, then take the time that you would sitting behind your computer or your phone, more likely, and then use it to be a force of good. And that person doesn't know you, they don't know, and you don't know them. So really, who cares about their opinion? You hear the kind of avoiding the negativity is really the goal. Staying away from it, it's important. So it's an important step in avoiding finding your self-worth from social media commentary.
Yeah, I agree completely. And those are some really great, simple strategies and practices that we can implement to start really. I don't want to say that it's going to be easy. That they seem simple, but I know that there are so many people that if they haven't checked Facebook in about 10 minutes, they start having withdrawals. So
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that this will be a big game changer in your life. So just try it. I love the timer idea, the free app, helping your kids make this transition is essential as well, that you brought up.
Yeah.
And it is pointless to invest so much of your heart and soul into somebody's comment that more than likely they're going on with their day
Mm-hmm.
and they're not thinking twice about it because that's
Mm-hmm.
just who they are.
Right.
And somebody like me who is an empath,
Yes.
I will be devastated by it.
Yes.
So I work on that a lot. And that's why I love what you and I are doing together.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm the same. That's why I try to avoid it because I feel it deeply. I'm like, oh my gosh, this person really feels X, Y, Z. I can't believe that. It
Yeah.
just when you feel strongly like that, you have to protect yourself even more. So if you're the kind of person that is more sensitive, you should definitely take steps to protect yourself even more. My husband is not he's not super sensitive. He could see something that's a negative comment and actually he would laugh about it. He would think it was funny. I would be like in tears in the corner and he would think it was the funniest thing he ever heard. And so, knowing yourself and knowing kind of like how you handle that is important too, because it affects your body, it affects your mental health, and then also knowing that the system is kind of rigged to make you want to keep coming back. And so, even the sound, that ding ding when you have like a message, they did tons of research to find the perfect sound that would create a Pavlovian response in you, so that when you hear the ding, you have to stop what you're doing. You have to, and you have to pick up the phone.
Yeah. So one of my goals is to start disconnecting from technology one day a week.
Oh,
And
amazing.
yeah, I'm turtle stepping, taking very teeny tiny steps towards that because I do run an online business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what I do. And so, but that is a goal of mine. I'll let you know if I make it. I plan on Sundays being my technology free day.
I love that. I want to try that too.
Yay,
I'm going to
let's do
try
it
and make
together.
Sundays my technology free day too, and just leave the phone, and people will sort of know, like, oh well, can't get a hold of her because it's Sunday and she doesn't have her phone. Or you know what? They'll find a way to get a hold of you. If they
Right.
really need to get a hold of you and it's urgent, they'll find a way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, and I can tell you again, I come from a time where we had one phone for the entire family, and
Yeah.
the it worked just fine. It really did.
Yeah.
There's a
You know
freedom
what?
to it.
You can actually, if there's moms out there that are like thinking, oh, I want to do this, but I'm worried because I have kids or teenagers, you can set your phone up and block communication from everyone else except for your children and your husband. So you can make it
Oh.
so that on Sundays from 8, you can even put a schedule in. So from Sundays from 7 a.m. to whenever, 7 p.m., if you want to do it like that, you're only going to get communication from your kids and your husband or whoever you really need to have communication with, and everybody else is blocked. So you don't even have to worry about it. It's in there. You can do it.
I'm gonna find that. You just lit me up because that is
Oh,
that
good.
is one of the things that because
You were you
I am technology challenged and I work on this every day. So I love that suggestion. I'm
were
gonna
oh, good.
figure it out. Yay! That's a great suggestion. So yeah, so let's make this pact, make our Sundays
All right, I can do
our
it.
disconnect day and our self-care, self-compassion, and just enjoying just being, right? Just to
Right.
give ourselves that creative space to just rest. And
Yes.
I have a hunch, I'm very excited about it, that I'm going to get a lot of energy back from it that I
Mm-hmm.
spend that I don't even realize I'm spending on things that I don't even I'm not present,
Right.
right? So this will create that. I love it. So we you and I discussed in our previous episode, we talked a lot about self-talk and how we how we apply self-talk in shifting the negative social media thoughts. So
Mm-hmm.
we touched on that in the last episode, but um, what are some things? How can we apply this self-talk therapy in shifting negative thoughts in social media?
So looking at your attitude towards yourself, um, and making sure that you find your self worth in you, like you set the standard, not Pinterest or Instagram. You set the standard. So really, the amazing thing about it is that you have the power. You have the power to say whether you're going to give that platform power to decide where the bar is, or whether you're going to decide what the standard is and where you set the bar in your life. So that's the great news, is that you have the power to say, what you want that bar to be. And sort of looking at your attitude starts first. So how you feeling about yourself when you're looking at these posts? I had a friend once who I was pregnant and I just had my baby, and she loved to post pictures of herself every single day working out, and I was just like, this is getting me down. I started to hear the negative self-talk in my head. Nothing's bad about my friend doing this, but I started to even within my circle compare myself. So it's not just about these big social media bloggers and people who post all the time that have millions and millions of viewers. It's also like in your circle and how you feel about the people in your circle. You can start comparing yourself to them too. So it's not about overestimating your self-worth or about deceiving yourself. There's a middle path. I talk to patients sometimes and I'm like, this week I want you to focus on telling yourself how much you love yourself and how great you are at X, Y, and Z. And sometimes they're like, well, I feel like I'm lying. I feel like I'm deceiving myself. And I'm like, well, it's not about overestimating. It's about recognizing and celebrating the fact that you're a valuable person equal to everyone else, that your talents and your thoughts are unique and that they're worthy. So, it's about getting to that belief. And it can be difficult if you spend your life and years underestimating your worth, but it's always possible to change your thoughts and learn to value yourself. And then controlling the social media is part of that. Controlling that sort of measuring stick that you may be looking at is going to be very helpful for you. But also, you don't have to say, I am the best doctor in the world, I am the best at the best coach in the world. It's about saying, I bring value to the world, I bring value to my patients and clients. I have valuable talents that are thoughts that are unique and worthy. There's only one you, there's only one me. And so, honoring the fact that that's really great as well is important to valuing yourself and telling yourself that in self-talk. I have talents, I have thoughts, they're unique, they're worthy. Using the word worthy a lot is important too. I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. It's such a powerful phrase, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Yes. And one thing is it is a practice, right?
Yes.
So this isn't going to be something that just, oh, I do it once or twice and oh, I feel great, I'm
Yeah.
worthy, it's we have spent the majority of our life in that negative self-talk, right?
Mhm.
So this is a practice, and I think what I have noticed is that if you are having trouble with it, try writing it.
Mm. Yes.
Yes, if the out loud is just like feels icky, find a way to express your worthiness to yourself that feels good to you. There's so many different ways, and I first of all I love the word worthy. So I love that. So if you can find a way to empower yourself with that word, just try it
Mm-hmm.
and see what works for you, right? I have worked with a lot of women, and I think we talked about this too, that just don't feel like they are enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from years. It's not from one experience, right? So
Right.
give this a shot and trust in it. And if you're listening to this, our intention here is to help you take a foot forward and just try feeling worthy and take a small step towards it, take a breath, and trust that this does work because
Right.
it's worked for me.
I mean, maybe even starting with I'm enough or this is enough and working your way up to I am worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worth it, you know? And it can be in like small, you can say this to yourself by practicing self-love and self-compassion. So by doing the things that we've talked about in previous podcasts, by setting time aside to meditate or taking a bath or painting your nails or going for a walk by yourself or taking time to do things that are self-love, you're communicating to yourself, I'm carving out time because I'm worth it.
I
And
love that.
so it all kind of goes together with everything that we've been talking about. If you're not feeling worthy, then make sure that you take time to practice these things, because maybe if you don't feel like saying it, you can feel like doing it, like you can do it in practice, and the more you do it, the more worthy you feel. I remember, and I'm sure moms have had this feeling like, I can't leave my kids, they're so little, and not wanting to, not feeling like having this guilt, like, oh, I can't, I shouldn't, I won't. Um, and then when I did, I went away for the weekend with some friends, and I was like, this is amazing. I feel so good. It's so worth it. It was like I was afraid to take the step. And once I had, then I was like, oh, I'm going to do this every year. I'm going to get away with my girlfriends and take this little trip. It's so worth it for me to do that. So it's like taking the first step, putting money into the bank of your worth is going to be important. Every time you practice self-compassion, you add some money to that bank of self-worth for yourself.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw in that made me remember one of the tools that I use with autism moms is a self-care jar,
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't have to be anything fancy. But when you were like, yeah, let's put this in my own personal relationship bank account of self-love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be your marble jar of self-care. And when your self-care jar fills up, when you do these small acts of kindness or self-care, or you're using the mantra, I am enough or I am worthy for self, you just put a marble in there, and when it's full, go splurge, go do something crazy and fun and whatever it is. It could be a walk on the beach. I dream of that because I'm in Arkansas. So
That's true. I mentioned that because I live close to the beach,
yeah.
but I used to, there's a beach close by, and we would go at night. We haven't done this in maybe in months now, but we would go at night when the sun was setting and the moon was coming up, and we would hang out. And it's like free thing to do, but being by the ocean, having a glass of wine, watching the moon come up, it's a relaxing, cheap thing to do, but it's super, super fun. I mean, I did go swimming in the summertime in the water, with my kids, and I was so scared, but
Yeah.
it was fun. It was
Yeah.
like putting into that jar. I felt amazing after that. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love wine.
So I hope that everyone creates a self-care jar and fills it up and go do something for yourself that rejuvenates you, that you want to do, but you just don't take the time out to do for yourself. And that is a great way to remind yourself, oh yeah, oh, look at my jar filling up. And my hunch is the more you practice everything, the faster that jar is going to fill up each time. So
Mm-hmm.
you better be ready to have some good times ahead. So we're already on this path, but I did want to just take a second and talk about some simple tips that you have that we can put towards our self love and compassion. I just gave one. I know you've got some great ones. Can you share
Oh,
those?
yeah. So it when you boil it down, it's about being your own best friend. So that your best friend, the best friend in the world, they treat you with love and kindness. They're always have tolerance and generosity and compassion. Uh, when I call my best friend and I'm having a hard day, she'll say, what do you would you want me to be angry with you? Should I give you the upside? Tell me what you want. So your best friend is always on your side, always on whatever you need. And so you need to be your own best friend. And whether you have a best friend or not, you still need to be your own best friend. And that's what self care and self love is all about. So taking some time for yourself today, running a hot bath. If you've got some lavender or some Epsom salt or some lavender essential oils, you can put that in the bath and spend 10 to 15 minutes in the bath warm. I'm going to give you a recipe for making your own face mask. You should have most of these ingredients, if not all of them, in your cabinet. But if you take a teaspoon of honey and a teaspoon of coconut oil and a quarter of a ripe avocado and 2 drops of lavender oil, and you mix that all together, and while your bathtub is filling, you get your mask together and you put the mask on you. And this is a super healthy mask for you too. You could eat it after you're done, if you wanted to. I wouldn't, but you could eat the leftovers if you wanted to that you didn't use for your mask. But it's a great healthy natural way to hydrate the skin, but also it gives you time to sit in the bath and let that face mask kind of soak.
That sounds so good. I had planned this Sunday, as I turtle step to unplugging from the world. I'm going to use this, and I'm very excited about it because I just envisioned myself in my hot tub
Me
with
too.
my face mask. Oh,
Me
it
too.
sounds so good.
I saw myself too. I saw myself doing this too for a Sunday unplug. I was like, I'm laying in my tub and I got this green mask on my face. And it smells so good and I'm gonna relax. And maybe that's the time when you drift off or you just tell yourself your mantras. You don't even have to say it. The fact that you put the tub full of water, you made the mask, you have what you've given yourself. I have self-worth. I've put money in the bank of self-worth, or I've put a jar into my jar. I know that I love myself because I've taken the 10-20 minutes it takes to run the bath, make the mask, and then sit in there and be my own best friend.
I love that. So, we're going to get a teaspoon of honey, a teaspoon of coconut oil, a fourth cup, is it, of ripe avocado,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Two
Yes.
drops of lavender oil. We're going to mix it up. We're going to put it on our faces and we're going to enjoy this beautiful, relaxing mask, hopefully in a hot tub or wherever you're comfortable. Just take the time out. And I would love personally to hear how this works for you guys. So as we've released this episode, um, we're you guys know how to get a hold of us. We're going to share that again, and let us know how this mask worked for you. How's your self-care going? What how can we support you? So I'm excited. I'm going to use it. uh, Dr. Michelle, do you have anything else that you would like to mention before we go?
Just that I hope that everyone takes some time today to practice some form of being their own best friend. And if you see that you are feeling that social media anxiety that I was talking about, just just put the phone down and don't feel like your self-worth is all wrapped up in somebody else's opinion. It's actually the opinion that matters most is the opinion that you have for yourself. That's the one that matters the most. So making sure that you keep that in mind when you're out there scrolling.
Yes, I love that. Where can our listeners find you?
Oh, well, I have a virtual telemedicine practice. I'm based out of Southwest Florida, but I see patients all over the country. My office is called My Naturo Wellness because I'm a naturopath. And so you can find me at mynaturowellness.com, or you can email me at Dr. Michelle, Michelle, at mynaturalwellness.com. And then you can also find me at mynaturalwellness.com. I mean, My Natural Wellness on Facebook and Instagram. I love to post recipes or tips for living a healthier and more holistic lifestyle. So you can catch if you follow there, you can find some great new tips each day.
All right. So that's how you get a hold of Dr. Michelle Trias and her expertise. She's full of knowledge and is, as always, it's an honor to have you as a guest on Mother's Guide Through Autism. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. And we will see you guys in the next episode.